Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming out, and really appreciate a couple minutes to share with you and talk to you. And as you're probably aware, there were calls on certain people's part of the top party leadership that they said that I needed to step down. And that was a question that I had to take a good look at. And as I was thinking it through, it wasn't about me, it's a question about really what's the right thing to do. If you think back over the last 16 months, what's happened? Well, we had a long primary, 8 different people in the primary, and people spent lots and lots of money. Many of you volunteered. Some of you may have worked at 107 degrees at the hot parades on the 4th of July. And when the whole thing was said and done, the people of Missouri and the Republican Party chose their nominee. We call it voting. And now there's certain people that decide they want to change that, and so party bosses decide they want to appoint instead of take people who will vote. Now, is that what we want in Missouri? Is that what we want in any state? What we really want is we have a system, an orderly system, and the person that's elected is the person. And so if you replace them with somebody, what does that do? What precedent does that set? And so my thought about the whole situation was that the right thing to do is I've been chosen and I should go straight forward, and my plan is to go straight forward to November and replace Claire McCaskill. So the race has changed a little bit, as you can see. I wasn't the pick of the party bosses. And so this is a race a lot like our primary. Just people who are regular old people are coming out and saying, look, there's a principle involved here. Somebody was elected and we want to stand behind him. Now the situation is that increasingly I found people coming up to me. I'm buying gas and somebody comes up and says, you're Akin. I go, yeah. And they go, you stand tall. Don't you let those party bosses replace you. You go in there, you go fight and win. That's what we're doing. And so, I'll tell you, they want to cut off all the money and try and torpedo what we're doing, but the fact is that the checks are coming in, people are writing from all over America, and they're saying, wait a minute, we understand. There's certain people that want to choose who the next Republican senators are going to be. They chose Christ. But unfortunately, the people of Florida didn't vote the right way for him. You know, they got Rubio. Well, what are we going to do with that? So Chris speaks at the Democrat convention. Well, how good a choice was that? They also didn't want Rand Paul. But unfortunately, that's who people elected. And that's why we have an election process in this country. So I believe the principle here is to move forward with the election process. And let me tell you what this campaign is about, because there's really 2 very stark choices. And the way that we have voted, both Claire McCaskill votes one way, I vote about the opposite. This isn't one where it's going to be Tweedledee and Tweedledum. You can't tell the difference between the 2. We're about opposite on everything. And you're going to have a clear choice. You're going to have a choice what you want to do. And I would suggest that my voting pattern is going to bring more jobs and more freedom, less big government, and a bright hope for the future. And Claire McCaskill's voting has been for less jobs, less freedom, a lot more big government, big taxes, and the same stalled economy that we have right now. Now let's take a look at just kind of where we are. You can take a look at the fact that we've got a 45% increase in food stamps, a 10% increase in poverty. We've got Claire McCaskill voting with Obama 98% of the time. You got to give her credit for guts to say that she's a moderate when she votes with Barack Obama 98% of the time. That's not my comment. She also said that the Senate had passed a budget, which they haven't done in 1,200 days. And so this is kind of a picture. You go to the gas station and what happens? Your gasoline is twice as expensive as it was just about 4 years ago. And you can take a look at all kinds of other numbers, but particularly unemployment. The unemployment numbers remain high. They're saying that they're about 8-something%. Of course, that's a phony, baloney government number, because if you've been unemployed for more than a year, what happens? They don't count you anymore. So what's the real unemployment rate? Well, we don't know exactly, but it's probably north of 12%. And that's a reflection of an economy and a government model that these liberals are pushing that just flat doesn't work. Now let's go for a straight comparison so it's just clear you know who you're voting for. One of the issues is Obamacare, right? I voted 30 times to repeal Obamacare. And 71% of Missouri voters said they don't want the efficiency of the federal government and the compassion of the IRS running our healthcare system in Missouri. But Claire McCaskill was the vote because they needed 60 votes. She was the vote that passed it. If she hadn't voted for it, you wouldn't have it. So Claire McCaskill voted for it. I voted against it. Very clear choice. Let's go to another choice. And here's the second choice. And that is people in Missouri, as I've had a chance to campaign around, have a respect for the U.S. Constitution. We're not too happy. We're not too happy with a president who ignores the responsibility to check in with Congress before he goes and bombs Libya. We're not too happy with a president who misuses his authority and decides to try to cover up fast and furious. But one of the parts of that Constitution is the Second Amendment, which is particularly dear to people in the state of Missouri. The National Rifle Association has given me an A rating. Claire McCaskill has an F. You got a clear choice. You got the other situation too. You got the Wall Street bailout, where we're going to take your government money and we're going to buy Goldman Sachs at double book value. And that's something Claire McCaskill supported, and I'm against it. I don't want any bailouts. Get rid of bailouts. I could go on and on. We could talk a little bit about taxes. This is a tax forum. You want to talk about a really bad kind of tax. Look, the income tax is just loaded with all of these special deals for all these groups of people. And trying to deal with it is very, very difficult. Everybody has a special interest in the income tax. But here's a kind of tax that Claire McCaskill wants to change. It's called the death tax. You have tax on cigarettes, tax on booze. But now there's one thing about the death tax that the liberals really like. It's because everybody's going to die. So they get you, no matter when. And so what are we going to do with the death tax? Here's what happens. The way it is now, you've got a business. It's worth $5 million. You're hoping your son's going to take it over. If you die, you got a $5 million exemption. You don't have, your son doesn't have to pay anything to inherit your business, and you got a couple dozen people working for you. Everything goes fine. Claire McCaskill voted to take it back to $1 million. So here's what happens in that scenario. You die. You have $1 million exemption. $4 million is subject to tax, not at 35, but at 55% tax rate, which means you got to come up as soon as your dad dies with $2 million plus dollars. That means you're going to have to sell part of the business, and guess what happens to the jobs? Goodbye, they go somewhere else. And that's the kind of idiocy that we've got in the Senate with Barack Obama and Claire McCaskill with the highest corporate tax rate in the world when we're having trouble with unemployment, and they got the death tax going on that they want to change as well. And so Claire McCaskill has voted for 500 tax increases. You won't find me supporting tax increases, particularly now. In fact, not only would Ronald Reagan tell you that it's dumb when the economy's in trouble to raise taxes, even JFK understood that. So we don't want to be raising taxes a lot. Now, I could go back and forth. There's one other place, obviously, where Claire McCaskill and I are different. I'm pro-life. I'm rated by the National Right to Life as an A. Claire McCaskill. So Claire McCaskill is rated F, okay? F. She wants abortions all the way through the 9th month. And there you got an exact opposite, back and forth. You choose. Now here's your choice. Do you want Claire McCaskill to take Washington, D.C. stuff and bring it back into the state of Missouri? Or do you want me to take your common sense values from Missouri and take them into Washington, D.C.? I'd like to talk to you just a little bit about something that we've seen after September 11th. And that's the nature of what this country, America, is. We've grown up here. We love this country. And one of the things that we got going in America is the fact, as we look back, that we are a totally unique country. In World War I, my grandfather and that generation fought and won a military victory around the whole globe. And in World War II, we won another victory around the whole globe. We had become the victors, but we didn't annex any territory. We didn't crown any kings or emperors or anything like that. In fact, if you look at the history of America, what we did was we taxed ourselves to rebuild our enemies. When has there been a nation like that in all of history? America is a very unique and special country. We have the oldest written constitution in the world. And when you see a tsunami or an earthquake or something, you see a gray hull with a red, white, and blue flying proudly, and they're going to bring medical aid and water and electricity and things and food to the people who are in trouble. And we take that for granted because that is America. That's who we are. We're those people. And there are at least 40 different nations who had tyrants ruling over them. And because we shed our blood of our sons and daughters and our forefathers, we went in and freed those countries and gave them an opportunity once again to be free people. And so the question is, how is it that America came to be who we are? What's the heart of who we are as a people? And I would suggest that the secret that made America different than any other nation in the world is the fact it was this visionary idea that there is a creator, God, who blessed us with life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness. And that's what we fought wars. Because people tried to take our lives and our liberties and the pursuit of happiness away from us. And there's a reason why life is first. It's because if you're dead, none of the other liberties make much difference. Now, let's just for a minute, let's take the words of political people that talk about abortions and set that aside and take a look, without dealing with abortions, at the nature of how Americans act, not what they say. And I would suggest to you that America is a pro-life nation. It's a pro-life nation. It's a pro-life nation because on September 11th, a number of years ago, what happened? You had a rescue worker going into one of the tower's on fire, about to collapse, and there's a woman in a wheelchair. They don't check her ID to see if she's important. They grabbed her and took her to safety, and then went back into the building to get more people. Because by our actions, you can see Americans respect life. That's why your police do what they do. That's why the hospitals and the doctors do what they do, and the firefighters, because we place a high priority on the potential and who every single one of our living people are in this country. And that's who we are as Americans. Then let's go on to liberty. Liberty means, first of all, that you have a right to free speech. We're seeing an example of free speech right here. This is America. And more than that, liberty also means you have a right to keep what you earn. We're overtaxing the people who work and overpaying the people who don't work. We need to remember we're living in a society. And then perhaps the most beautiful of all is the idea of the pursuit of happiness. You see, that's based on the idea that we're not all divided. It's not, the rich guys and this guy and the people with this color skin or that color skin or male or female. The people that want to divide us are people like Barack Obama, who keep saying the rich people will fix the mess that they've got, and you could take everything they have and it wouldn't fix it. Okay, America is not split up in a whole lot of pieces. The vision of the pursuit of happiness means that we're all Americans, that every single one of us has the ability to pursue whatever dream God puts in our hearts, and each day is like a new page of a book, and we're writing an exciting story about what we're going to do, and people are going to tell you, you can't do it, you can't make it. And we try, and we fall on our face, and you know what Americans do? They get back up and keep trying. And that's what's made America. We are one people, and this election is quite simply about allowing people to pursue the dreams of their own hearts, to protect life, to protect liberty, and that pursuit of happiness. And we have a word for that. You know what that word is? It's about freedom. That's what this is about. It's about freedom. We've got just about everything free except you and me. We're the ones that are free. It's time we change it. It's time we take back America. So God bless you all. Be strong. And in November, we're going to win, and we're going to restore freedom, and we're going to take common sense from Missouri to Washington, not the stuff from Washington, and dump it back here. God bless you all. Thank you.
Might even contemplate